Levi's coal catastrophe. The new year was off to a good start for the old circle. The steam engines were finally back to work after waiting a while for a coal delivery from the mainland. Mr. Conductor spoke to some of the engines at Tidman. "I know we are all happy that the coal delivery finally arrived," he said. "Now the steam engines can help the diesels with all the work. In fact, since you two worked so hard, you two have earned yourselves a nice rest in your sheds." "Thank you, Mr. Conductor." "Yeah, thank you," said Splatter and Dodge, and they rolled away. "Now then," said Mr. Conductor, "I know you steam engines will do well keeping the trains to time while the diesels are resting. However, there is another diesel coming to help out. Please do your best to avoid any disturbances." "What does that mean?" asked Toby. "That means this diesel is difficult," sniffed James. And he was. When the diesel arrived at the sheds, he stopped outside. "Why on earth does your controller keep such out-of-date objects?" he growled rudely. "Dirty slow things." The engines glared. "On our railway," the diesel continued, "steam engines are kept strictly in their place and not allowed on the mainland without any permission." "And who do you think you are?" asked Jordon. "My name is Levi," said the diesel. Just then, Mr. Conductor returned in a shower of gold dust. "Ah, you must be Levi," he said. "Now that you're here, can you take a goods train from Knapford to Vickerstown?" "Certainly," replied Levi, and rolled away to the yard. "I do find it a little funny that Levi has to do goods work," said Toby, "but I have a feeling this won't end very well." The other engines agreed. Meanwhile, Levi went to Knapford where Percy is sleeping in a siding. He tooted his horn loudly when he got there. "Ah!" cried Percy. "You scared me." "Sorry," said Levi sarcastically. "Now, I'm here to do some goods work today, so you may as well make yourself useful and fetch my goods train." Percy was cross. "You're capable of shunting your own goods train," he said. "Nonsense," said Levi. "Other engines on our railway shunt our goods trains for us mainland engines. So get to work, you little green puffball." Percy was cross, but he did as he was told. Soon, Percy had all the trucks in line for Levi's goods train. Levi began to back up to couple up to the train. Percy then had a very cheeky idea. As Levi got closer to the train, Percy began to pull the train backwards. Levi was planning to stop once he felt his rear buffers touch the trucks, but he didn't feel anything touch his rear buffers, so he kept on reversing, thinking he wasn't as close to the train as he thought he was. He didn't even bother to look behind him to see the trick that was being played on him. Then there was trouble. As Percy continued to reverse, Edward was coming down the line, but when he saw Percy coming, he blew his whistle loudly to warn him. Percy heard the whistle and looked back. "Shiver my pistons!" he said, and he quickly stopped. But then it happened. Edward came down the line and he bumped into Percy. Levi bumped into the trucks and they came off the rails, creating a huge mess in the yard. "Goodness me!" exclaimed Levi, and he looked over and saw what had happened. Percy felt very silly. He knew he was going to get into trouble. And he was right. "Well, Percy, I am disappointed in you," said Mr. Conductor. "Tricks like this one are what end up causing accidents like this one." "I'm sorry, Mr. Conductor," Percy said sadly. Levi couldn't help but chuckle. "And as for you, Levi," Mr. Conductor said as he walked up. "What? Me?" "Yes, Percy played this trick because you were being rude to him. I do not like rude engines on Sodor, and a workman told me that you refused to shunt your goods train because you said that other engines shunt your goods train for you as your servant. Here on Sodor, any engine does the work that they are assigned to do, so if you had to shunt your own train, then you will have to do it. Since you refused to fetch your own trucks and caused this accident, you will work at the Crosby coaling plant until further notice." Levi was horrified. When Levi arrived at the coal depot, Oliver was busy shunting trucks into the sidings. "Ah, Levi, glad you're here. I need to fill up on water real quickly. In the meantime, can you shunt these trucks to the rest of the train there and fill them up with coal?" Levi groaned, but he did as he was told. He shunted the trucks into the line and placed them under the hopper. Oliver went over and began to fill up the water tower. Levi, meanwhile, continued to push the trucks under the hopper. But the closer he got to the hopper, the closer he got to the coal into the truck. By the time Oliver finished filling up with water, Levi had just over the last truck, but he had gotten close enough that the coal dust had gotten all over him. Levi was furious and he began to reverse away to get a washdown. The troublesome trucks laughed and laughed until suddenly there was a bump at the back of the train and some of the trucks moved forward. Oliver looked off to the side and saw Thomas behind the train. He had been passing through with some empty coal trucks and didn't know that the line was blocked. "Oh, sorry," said Thomas, "but I need to get through. Levi, can you move these trucks for me, please?" "This Great Western puffball is capable of doing it himself," said Levi. "I need a washdown like this instant." But just then a workman walked up and inspected the points. "Oh, I'm afraid the points are broken," he said. "Oliver, you're stuck in that siding. You can't get out to pull the trucks, so Levi, you'll definitely have to do it. But you'll have to turn around first. It's not safe for—" "I know, an engine to pull a train backwards," grumbled Levi. Levi quickly turned around and he backed up to the train. The trucks were still giggling over Levi looking dirty. Levi heard them and gave him a good bump. But he didn't know that the bump he had given the trucks had derailed the front wheels of the truck that was sitting under the hopper. "Let's get this over with," said Levi, and he began to roll forward quickly. But as he did so, the front right bumper of the derailed truck hit the coal hopper leg and he began to pull the truck against it. "Uh-oh," said the truck. "Wait, Levi, stop!" Oliver and Thomas realized that if Levi kept pulling, he was going to make the coal hopper tip over. "Stop, Levi!" shouted Oliver, but Levi didn't hear him. Then it happened. The hopper leg had been pushed out of place and the coal hopper had tipped over, crushing the trucks that had been underneath it. The other trucks were in shock, and Levi stared in horror at the mess he had made. "Cinders and ashes," cried Thomas. Now you've done it, said the workman. When Mr. Conductor heard about Levi's coal catastrophe, he was most annoyed. He spoke severely to Levi. As if having a coal delivery delayed was bad enough, now we have a coal hopper that's out of commission at the Crosby coaling plant. Levi, I'm sending you away. If you can't do the solar work properly, then I won't allow you back here again. Now leave, said Mr. Conductor. Levi rolled his eyes, and he trundled back to the mainland. Percy knew that Levi had been rude to him, but he still felt sorry for the diesel engine. Hopefully he'll become a sensible engine one day, he thought. But I think the chances of that happening are very slim. Wouldn't you agree?